All right, so we're here, and I know I've kind of made one of these videos before, but I've had some more conversations with some students, and I think sometimes there are concerns that maybe individually students have that they don't bring up to other people, or it's something where they can't have it, and so. I guess this is sort of like another like end of the semester. What happens after this kind of thing, right? So we'll just go out to say it, right? There are probably some students in this class, right, or in either class, right, whether you're taking intro with me or whether you're taking theory, where you have a lot of concerns about your ability to pass the class, right? It's something where maybe you feel like you're on the edge of passing perhaps, or maybe you have it in your head that you're like destined to fail. Maybe you're calculating your grade and you're on the border, right? And you think it's really going to be a challenge, and it's really tough, right? Because this may be the first time that you've felt challenged in a course. It could be the first time that, well, it's certainly challenging because of the circumstances we are, right? We're all online. We don't necessarily have the same direct communication that we would have in person. You're disconnected from your peers other than like on GroupMe or something like that, or any kind of discussion boards, right? So you don't really have any kind of student groups going on unless you meet over Zoom. Maybe the only connection that you have with people is like if you're at work or if you're family, if they're working and things like that. And so what this, all this creates is that, this is a really hard experience, right? It's really difficult, just from a teaching normal traditional student standpoint. On top of that, right, I know it's true that for many people, they're either transferring in from a different universities. So if you like went to Crafton and you're here at Cal State, you've probably had to learn a new learning system. You don't know any of the faculty. You don't know how things work. There's a lot of different questions about what to expect in terms of advising things like that. For other people, this could be just your first time in a university at all. You never had an experience. You just came from middle and high school, which was a very different experience, I'm sure. And then you're exposed to some faculty members who may or may not be as supportive as you would like or appreciate. It can seem intimidating to reach out to them because you don't want to seem dumb or stupid or something like that. And on top of that, many of you are first time ever, first generation college students ever, right? So you were the first in your families to go to it, right? And there are those of you who are balancing work, you're balancing a family, you're balancing care for an elderly person, and so on, right? Maybe some of you have military obligations, some of you have other obligations, right? You're socially active, and protesting, politically active with the ongoing elections, and so on, right? And all on top, right? Like in the middle of a pandemic, right? So like, I guess like what is this a video about, right? Some of you have concerns, and I can't speak for all faculty. I can only speak for myself, right? And I guess this is for people who are on the edge, right? There are some people who are going to be on the edge, and it's going to be really tough. It's anxiety driven, and it's easy to disengage. And it can be, you might set yourself up where you're not in a position where you want to be, right? Where you feel like, like fail, or, maybe you're on the edge and you end up, squeaking through, right? Or something like that. So let's talk a little bit about what happens if things do not go as you want, right? So you end up failing the class in some ways, right? Know that, one, I'm aware of the situation, right? I'm aware of the world kind of stuff, and while I may not have personally experienced some of that stuff, right, I am empathetic, right? I know what it's like to go into college, into university, not knowing anything, not really having supportive, like parents for that kind of thing. But it sure as hell wasn't all online. And it sure as hell wasn't in the middle of a pandemic. And while I was working, I wasn't pressured to work full time or to have multiple jobs or things like that. And I didn't have any family or kids to take care of, right? So I can't imagine what it's like for people in that situation. When I think about this, I think, some people, it's maybe is easy to check out. It's hard to, keep up with everything, especially when you have faculty who are more responsive. They conduct their online courses a different way than others. And, that's already challenging enough in person, but, it's even more so online. I would say that, if you find yourself in a position, it's easy for students to kind of check out or think that they're not up to it or that they're, not capable, and they can really internalize that kind of thing. I would say that whatever happens, like at this level, this does not reflect your ability as a student. It doesn't reflect anything you about a person, and it doesn't really reflect you about your capability as a person, right? This is I teach a lot of like introductory kind of classes, and the thing is, right, it is a beginning, and it's all these classes are check boxes and to get into the main major. It does not really reflect who you are, and does not mean that if you screw up now, that you are going to, fail, right? Or that you aren't smart, you aren't capable, and you can't go on to do good, great things, right? It's something that, there's a lot of adjustments coming in. You have to figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And sometimes the struggle is really a good learning practice or really big learning habit. And that certainly was true for me. I failed a class for sure in grad school, and I got really close to failing another one, and I ended up with a D minus in another class when I was an undergrad, and I almost didn't get my degree because of that. Yet here I am today, right? Now whether some people think I'm doing good or not, that remains to be seen, right? But point being is that I understand what it's like to fail something like that and to feel really worthless and feel really dumb. And it's when you have to like retake, you feel like maybe some shame, right? Especially if you have to take it with the same professor, and because you're like, oh, what does that person feel about me? Do they like me? Do they think I'm dumb or something like that? Should I talk to them? How do I reach out for help and things like that? And again, I can't speak for other faculty, but as far as I'm concerned, I've had people fail like the class maybe like the first time, and who knows what that reason was. Maybe they didn't properly allocate their time. They didn't feel comfortable reaching out for help when they needed it. Or there's just some other thing. Maybe they just got a partying too much, or who knows what. Who knows what. They maybe had like a kid enter their life, or something else. And I would say, like, the way that I approach that kind of thing is that, I'm aware of all the things that can happen, right? And sometimes I have insight on some students, and sometimes I don't. But for me, it's really a blank slate, right? It's one of those things. It's where, I don't view that person differently. I see them again, and maybe have more of a familiarity. But I don't think poorly of them. I don't think that they're wrong. I don't think that they're incapable of, doing well or succeeding, in higher education or any other aspect in life, right? We all have these learning experiences, and, sometimes it happens, right? It happens. The thing that I would ask, though, is that if you find yourself and you're in that position, you have some concerns, that I ask you to please reach out, right? Because maybe we can talk about it, we can set realistic expectations, and we can talk about, like what happens, right? Sometimes, if it is something that, end up failing or not doing some poorly on, the university does want to save you, right? Or save you, but like they want to help, right? They want to have a situation where they can, help you, give you the resources that you need, maybe put you in some contact with some tutors, or maybe develop a stronger relationship with faculty members, right? Because really, we're here for y'all, right? I mean, that's our job. And it is in our interest to make sure that we keep as many people, students in, especially first timers, because it's all a new growing experience, and keep you guys moving forward, right? To offer a path for a better, brighter future for yourselves. So, if that's you and you feel like that and you want to talk about it, please reach out to me. Let's chat, right? And see where things are at and talk about what happens. And if that's not you, then you can ignore this video, and that's fine. But anyway, I guess as hard as it can be to overcome your own anxiety, your own fear, maybe you're giving yourself some negative self-talk. Try to set that aside and know that whatever happens, it will be okay, and you will have a chance to, do things again, right? And so this does not indicate that you're, intellectually inferior, or that you're not capable, or you're not ready. It may just mean that you just need to make some adjustments that you didn't know you had to make yet. So, hope this video is useful. And if not, you can give it like 1,000 dislikes. So, and that's okay, right? But I guess until then, I'll see y'all next time.